ThirdPopMMA.com. We're here today in Tacony, Philadelphia, and we're talking to Javier Guzman. I say everything right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Javier just coming off his officially his first amateur victory. I know you've had some fights before that, but to start off, just give us the basic bio, like where you grew up, you know what you're up to right now, what you know your age, like all the major stats.
I grew up in Greater Northeast, like right around Franklin Mills.
Okay.
I turned 18 on April 11th, 11 days before the fight, and yeah, it was a little shaky.
That's like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. So I mean, yeah, I grew up in a pretty big family. You know, our Puerto Rican families are pretty ginormous, but yeah, I mean, grew up down there. They always took good care of me. Always tried to keep me out of the bad crowd. I mean.
Did you where do you go to high school?
George Washington.
George Washington, and you're in your senior year, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Correct.
And what sports did you start out playing? Were you always athletic, always involved in sports?
I did a little bit of football at Northeast. Cause actually I was at Northeast for like 2.5 years. My freshman, sophomore, and a little bit of my junior, and then went over to Washington last year.
Okay.
But I played football there for a little bit. Then I don't know, it was just too much for me with juggling football and then fighting. And fighting.
So
was always my thing.
you were already fighting when you were playing football?
I was fighting since I was like about 4. I was with Tiger Shulman's.
Oh, okay.
I was 4.
So
all
that
the way up to about the beginning of 2011 in like January, and then I came over to fight sports.
Okay.
But in high school, I wrestled throughout high school except for this year. So I mean, that was a good time. We won the championship last year.
So was Tiger Shulman's like the first organized sport you got into, or were you doing like the little soccer thing or something before that?
I played soccer really little, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
everybody
like, I mean, it wasn't like the biggest thing for me. Like it was just a little, like it was a Christian league.
Okay.
So I mean, it wasn't really like my thing. Fighting wasn't even really my thing until I got good at it. Like I really didn't like fighting until I actually got good at it. I actually liked grappling.
Okay.
Because I didn't like getting hit in the head so much. So I mean, I don't know. It wasn't until my instructor Thad Campbell, which is working at Feasterville and the Tiger Showman's over there.
Okay.
So he got me like real interested. Like a lot of instructors are just like, oh, he's like a bad little kid, and didn't want to put up with him. And then Thad kind of like he took his time with me, like.
Just because you were like rambunctious and stuff, or?
I'm a little ADHD
Okay.
fireball.
Right.
So I mean, not a lot of people want to deal with you when you're just such like a jumpy guy and you're always hurting people.
And at 4 years old, to get involved with Tiger Shulman's, was that like your parents trying to get something to get the energy out of you, just trying to get you to bed?
I think so. Plus, it was always like, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and like.
Oh, so you were with it from the very beginning? You were interested in it?
I was interested in it. Okay. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee, like all into karate and Jackie Chan. So I mean, like that was kind of my thing. But I knew my parents were doing it just like, oh, get him off that Ritalin, get him off the Ritalin, get him to settle down. So I mean. All
right. So you're with Tiger Shulman's basically like the majority of your life.
Yes.
And then at what point do you decide that you want to like, did you get involved with MMA with them, or were you straight karate when you were with them?
My 2 WKKO fights were with Tiger Shulman's.
And those were in Virginia, those fights?
Those fights were in Virginia. What happened with Tiger Shulman's was they're awesome. I still love them. They're a great big part of me. They'll always be a part of me. They're like my family. But it was like, to fight with them, they are good. They're excellent. But you have to show up at headquarters, which is in Elmwood Park, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I just turned 18 and I don't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
So getting up there was just like, it's almost New York. So getting up there is like about a 3-hour drive.
Wow.
And getting up there, you have to get up there like about, I think, 10 or 12 a.m. in the morning. And for me doing that, it was just really hard.
It's a lot to go through to train.
So, I mean, yeah, I was getting the right training over in Feasterville, but to train with the bigger guys in Tiger Shulman's, you got to go over to Elmwood Park. And I just really couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you know, there's only so many people in your own school that you can go hard with and, like, get crazy, like, training with. Like, you can't go as hard as you want with, like, a mother of 4 or like a father that, you know, he's just trying to go somewhere so he stays in shape because he's like, you know, he's 40 years old and he's like, oh, I just want to stay young. Like, you can't go hard with someone like that. You don't want to hurt him. But I mean, there was this fair share of good people. I mean, that's where my basis like started, and like that they always say, you know, you never forget where your roots were, and I'll never forget those guys. I love them for it all the time.
And when you decided that you wanted to that you wanted to focus on MMA and that you wanted to have like a train a little bit closer to home. Did you like scout gyms in the area, or did you how did that process happen?
So we're sitting in my aunt's office right now. Okay. Actually, my aunt talked to the owner of Fight Sports, which is Mike.
And we're visiting it's Philadelphia Fight Sports, right?
Philadelphia Fight Sports,
right
6811 tour still.
Yep, right at Norrin Tarsdale and Tacony, and we're a few shops down from that. Your uncle was kind enough to let us use this nice quiet area for the interview because it was like a madhouse in Philly Fight Sports. A lot of guys training, going hard in there, and so because your uncle has this location right down the street from the gym,
they look over and they see these guys going crazy. They're like, "What are they building over there?" And they just went over there and started talking to Mike, and Eddie and Mike kind of talked to my aunt about like what was going on over there, and Mike had me like kind of try out. Like the gym's like not even built, and he's like, "Yeah, come over. We're gonna see how you do." And he just puts me in the cage and is like, "All right, let's go," and just starts beating me up.
Wow.
And like, you know, test me, make sure like I know what I'm doing, like not just throwing some kid in there that doesn't know what he's doing. So he made sure I was like, you know, like I had it behind the ears a little bit, like, you know, I knew what I was doing. Like, you know, like he's not just gonna throw me in there to the lions.